It's the morning weather briefing. This is for Friday, the 14th of March. I'm James Spann. We are setting up for a very dangerous outbreak of severe thunderstorms and tornadoes across much of the southern U.S. and a fairly large part of the eastern half of the country over the next couple of days. And it's important to focus on what we're going to tell you this morning and the actions we're asking you to take. So let's spend a little time and go through everything that you need to know about this event to stay safe. As we often do here, we'll start with the current upper air look, and this is what drives everything. The wave that brought a few storms yesterday that produced hail, that's moving on to the east. The wave in the western states, that's the one that will be the dynamic forcing for the severe weather outbreak over the weekend. And since we are in between waves, things are quiet this morning. The day today should be mostly rain-free. So here's our watch warning map, and you can see a lot of wind advisories across the middle of the country. That's for this very, very intense surface low that's going to form across the Great Plains later today. And to the east and southeast of that intense surface low, we have a risk of severe storms. The broad risk runs from the Gulf Coast up into parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the Great Lakes. We have a moderate risk. That's a level 4 out of level 5 centered around St. Louis. And so if you're traveling or in other parts of the country, that's the broad risk. This is going to cover a large area. And understand this outlook runs through 7 a.m. Central Time tomorrow morning. So for the storms that move into Alabama, this will be mainly after midnight tonight, overnight tonight, early tomorrow morning. We have a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for areas west of I-65 and north of US 80, the areas in orange on that map. And the greatest concern with this first round will be the western half of the state. The air is going to be stable over East Alabama with round 1. But the bigger concern, of course, is round 2. This is the outlook tomorrow. And again, this is after 7 a.m., and you can see the broad risk runs from the Gulf Coast up to Cleveland and almost up to Buffalo. And the Storm Prediction Center has expanded the level 4 out of 5 risk again to cover much of Alabama. We have 5 levels of risk, and this is level 4 out of 5. And again, people are asking, will they upgrade this to a level 5? At this point, it really doesn't matter. We don't want people to get hung up in the colors and the risk numbers and categories at this point. Just understand everybody across Alabama and the adjacent states will have a very high-end threat of severe storms. Let's look at the probabilistic outlook. This is the probabilistic outlook for tornadoes, the chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point. And again, in the red area, which is that level 4 out of level 5, that's 15 to 29%. That's very high. Understand, tornadoes are very small. Even on a big severe weather day, the chance of a tornado striking any one house would be fairly low. But again, those numbers are pretty robust. And again, the hatched area means there could be a few violent long-track tornadoes. So this is the probabilistic outlook for severe wind. And by definition, this is 58 miles per hour or greater. And again, these numbers are up in the 45 to 59% range, basically 50-50, your chance of having damaging wind. So again, this is a very high-end threat. And then on Sunday, the risk moves over to the east from near Tallahassee up to Philadelphia and New York. Now, in terms of rain with this, this is the rain for the next 7 days. This will count the rain we see with a feature by the middle of next week. But with this event, generally speaking, for the northern half of the state, rain amounts between 2 and 3 inches. 1 to 2 inches down for the southern counties of the state. So let's break it all down. And again, we'll got a lot of things to say here, so if you can, just be patient and please listen, because what we say today is pretty important. So this is the GFS, model fans. The 06C run, this is valid this afternoon at 4, and you can see that intense negative tilt trough over the middle of the country, and that very deep surface low underneath that is sitting on the Kansas-Nebraska border, 974 millibars. North and west of that will have snow. South and east of that will have severe storms. But again, for Alabama, the day should be mostly dry. This is the high-resolution HER model, valid this evening at 6 o'clock. Maybe a few little spotty showers around Mobile and Baldwin counties, but things are pretty calm. And then here's the synoptic scale look tomorrow. That intense surface low is just north of Michigan's UP. A secondary low forms near Tupelo. So let's begin with round one. This is after midnight tonight. This is 4 a.m., early tomorrow morning. And any of those showers and storms you see there could go severe with a chance of hail, damaging wind, and there could be a tornado. Understand, this is a middle of the night event. So that's always a challenge when you get something like this at that hour of the day. Let's go to 7 a.m. tomorrow. And again, any of the storms you see here could be severe, especially over the western half of the state. This is the STP. And again, we show this often. We've used it for years. This is the standard and the weather enterprise when it comes to showing tornado risk. A composite index. It takes into account things like veering of the wind with altitude, helicity, instability. And you can see the STP numbers are elevated on the western side of the state. So for round one, late tonight, early tomorrow morning, the greatest concern, it's the western half of Alabama. The eastern side of the state, places like Gadsden, Anniston, Auburn, Opelika, Eufaula. Could there be severe storms? Yes, but the chance is much, much, much lower there. So with round one, the greatest concern, the western side of the state. So let's go to round two, and this is where it gets nasty. This is 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. And again, you can see a line over northwest Alabama, and in advance of that, a number of supercell thunderstorms that are prowling through the state. Any of those could be severe. So let's look at the severe weather parameters. This is the instability or buoyancy. And understand this is a needed ingredient for severe storms. You can see the surge of unstable air coming up from the south. And this is the STP, the significant tornado parameter, valid tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. And those are very, very elevated. We're looking at values 10 to 15 units over parts of Alabama. And understand, to have a significant tornado day, an STP of 3 or 4, that's very meaningful. But you start seeing 10 to 15, that's pretty concerning. So this is updraft helicity. And again, I always debate in my mind, do I need to show this? And I think I do in this case because it tells a story. And this is where updrafts could be rotating, and this is where the potential is maximized. And understand, tornadoes are not going to touch down exactly where you see these lines. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But again, that just shows what could be the magnitude of this type event, with a number of tornadoes across the Deep South. So let's discuss again, the broad timing for the different rounds. For round one, the window about 11 o'clock tonight until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And again, mainly for the western half of the state. For round two, and that's the big one, noon tomorrow until 1 a.m. Sunday. And here's a look at round one. And again, for the western counties, the concern, 11 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The central counties, including Birmingham, Huntsville, Montgomery, midnight until 8 a.m. And I just don't think we have a big severe weather problem over the eastern counties of the state. But if a storm happens to get in there that's strong, the window there between 2 and 8 a.m. So this is for round number two. And again, this is the big show. For West Alabama, noon until 9. That would include the Shoals, Hamilton, Tuscaloosa, Mobile, noon to 9 p.m. Huntsville, Birmingham, Montgomery, the window between 2 and 11 p.m. And then east and southeast Alabama, the window between 4 p.m. and 3 a.m. So one very important point, if you take the time to watch this, you can be a hero. I mean, you can literally be a hero and save somebody's life because you pay attention to weather. And a lot of people don't, and that's fine. Everybody's busy. But what you can do is help us by, first off, today telling people that we have a dangerous weather situation coming up between now and late tomorrow night. Let them know of the event. And then during the event, if you know of anybody, a friend, a loved one, a neighbor that's in a tornado warning polygon, call them. I don't care if it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Wake them up. Text them and let them know that they need to take action now. So that's a critical part of the warning process, and I think we've missed that. The weather enthusiasts, the ones like you that pay attention, you could be a big role in this. So When it comes to preparation, obviously getting the warning is the key. And you know what I'm about to say, that the siren mentality is a major problem. It has killed more people in this state than anything else. The notion that you're going to hear some magical World War II air raid siren 5 miles away during a raging storm in a house, in a business. No. Yeah, you might hear them on a sunny day when they're testing them, but those things reach a limited number of people outdoors. I don't care if it makes somebody mad. I don't care at this point. You cannot rely on an outdoor siren. What you see here, that's the baseline. Now, the problem is most major retailers have sold out of these things. They're hard to find right now. You can get them typically in the major retailers of Walmart, Lowe's, Target, Publix, places like that. But it still might be worth it to try and find one today if you don't have one. Of course, if you order it, probably will be too late. But that's the baseline. That is like a smoke alarm in your house for a tornado. Weather, radio. And then, of course, beyond that, the phones are a big deal. Be sure that you turn off the sleep and do not disturb modes so you get notifications at night. And be sure emergency alerts are enabled. That's that loud tone out you get for tornado warnings, not an app. It's built into every phone in the United States. Be sure the emergency alerts are turned on. And again, be sure the sleep and do not disturb modes. You don't want that on during a situation like this because you need to get notifications at night. Again, late tonight, we're expecting an overnight type event. And when it comes to your safe place, just be sure that you've got helmets for everybody. One of the main reasons people lost their lives in previous events, the lack of helmet use. A bike helmet is perfect. Batting helmet, football helmet, motorcycle helmet. Most people that are injured seriously or lose their lives in a tornado event, it's blunt force trauma above the shoulders. And by putting on an inexpensive bike helmet, that really increases your chance of surviving in a huge way. And the other thing we like for people to have, it's little portable air horns. If you're injured and you cannot vocalize your need for help, you can squeeze that and first responders can find you. And you can buy those things at the dollar store. Little portable air horn. And the other consideration, it's hard-soled shoes. If you have to walk over a tornado debris field, your feet can be shredded if you're in tennis shoes or barefooted. So, again, hard-soled shoes. So these are things to think about. And again, we don't say any of this to scare people. You know, we live in a world of hyperbole now. Everything's hyped up. And you know me, I'm a straight shooter. And I don't use strong language unless it's needed. And for an event like this, it is needed. So we'll get through this thing together, but we've got to work together to be sure that we don't have any loss of life. So Sunday, it's all out of here. There might be a little lingering pop-up afternoon shower with the upper trough over North Alabama, but generally dry. Highs in the 60s. Next week, Monday, dry. Tuesday, dry. Wednesday, that next feature comes in here, a deep surface low. It's over Minnesota or Wisconsin. And that will push a band of showers and storms in here probably late Wednesday or Wednesday night. Severe storms, probably not likely, but again, let's get through our weekend event and we can focus on that. Thursday, it's on by, and a week from today, Friday, March 21st, big upper low this over the northeast United States, and we are dry. We're going to see some 30s, by the way, Friday morning of next week, maybe a light freeze for some spots. This is 10 days out. This is Sunday, March 23rd. Zonal flow evidence, maybe a few showers over South Alabama. Rain for Birmingham coming off the European ensemble. You look for the green line here. The mean, it's up there between 3 and 4 inches. And temperatures, you can see the today will be up there near 80. And then we'll be in the upper 30s Monday morning. Back to near 80 by Wednesday of next week. And 37 next Friday morning. In the latest long-range guidance, this is for March 21st through March 27th. Temperatures near, maybe slightly above average. And real quick, we had a lunar eclipse this morning. After midnight last night, these are photographs from Bob Phillips. For some, they had a clear sky. For others, it was overcast. But that was the totality, that blood red moon during the total lunar eclipse early this morning. So again, if you're just joining us here live, we have 2 rounds of severe storms ahead. The first one, late tonight, early tomorrow morning. The second one, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. And for both of these windows, we could see a few tornadoes, but the greatest concern for these violent long-track tornadoes will come tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. And we've all got to work together to be sure we don't have any loss of life or serious injuries here. So again, you can help us by letting your friends know that there's a high-end dangerous threat, and call them and text them if they're in a tornado warning polygon. But again, we'll get through it together. And of course, the other thing we advise you to do now is to subscribe to the YouTube channels that will be carrying what we do. When we go into coverage, every CPU cycle in my brain has to be focused on telling a coherent story. And I can't do individual briefings. In fact, this morning I've got overnight, looks like 1,200 new messages have come in for people asking for individual briefings. And normally I'm very responsive, but in a case like this, we have to focus on reaching the masses, and I just can't do individual briefings. So you can watch the coverage for my TV market on the ABC 3340 YouTube channel and Facebook page. And for the out-of-market event, Huntsville, Montgomery, Mobile, Dothan, when I can, I stream live on the James Spann YouTube page. So I would subscribe to those now. And that way, that's how you can watch it on a Roku, Apple TV, anything like that. But again, we just encourage you to watch as we get into this. And again, we'll have multiple resources out in the field, all these live streams, dash cams, sky cams. And we're ready to go here, but you just, if you can, watch us during the event. But I got to wrap it up today because we have some other stuff we got to do. Got to do some radio. For those that don't know, I do weather on 24 radio stations. I do a live segment on TV here shortly on Good Morning Alabama. I do that every morning. But the next video briefing this afternoon by about 2:45 or 3 o'clock. So thanks for watching. Have a marvelous day. Stay safe, and God bless.